All right, let's show you real quick how to check for crank failure on the YFZ450s. Simple enough is just pulling the oil filter out and looking at it. And you can see in there, sure enough, just as I suspected, it has metal shavings in it. So this thing has a crank failure, which is pretty common for 04, 05. YFZ450R and TRX450Rs. So if you suspect that you had a crank failure or the quad sounds like this when it tries to start, chances are, yeah, it sounds like the battery's dead. You know the battery's charged even on a booster box. 9 times out of 10, your crank failed. And what happens is one of the bearings usually lets loose. I can't remember which one it is on the YFZs. I know on the Hondas, it's the left bearing. On the YFZs, I can't remember which one, like I said, but it eventually lets loose and it starts moving side to side, and it causes your rod to try and do this, and it pinches the thrust washers between the crank and the rod, and that's usually what ruins the cranks on them. So let's go check out this oil filter. And I've had people ask me how to prevent this and stuff, and there's really no way you can prevent it other than, you know, to prevent engine damage, because sometimes this can take out your crankcases. And the best way to just every ride, you know, if you take your quad out every weekend or whatever hell, just check your oil filter, make sure there's no shavings in it. If it's running and you see shavings, quit running it and get it rebuilt. It's that easy. And the crank cases can be reused. But in this case, I don't know the extent of the damage just yet, but this will probably be another teardown. So yeah, I'm gonna have to let this guy know that he has a crank failure. But once again, you can see all that glitter in there.